Are you thinking about racing 70.3 Duisburg in Germany next year? If so, this is the video for you because I've just completed it in 2024 and hot off the press, I'm going to give you my breakdown of hints and tips of the key things you need to know to have an absolutely belter race in Germany. But who am I? My name is Coach Steve. I'm an athlete, primarily like myself, but I'm also an IRONMAN U certified coach who does a series of race reviews for all the 70.3s and all the IRONMAN races, either by my own personal experience or by collaborating with other coaches. But that's not important. You want to find out about this fast little course in Germany. So let's get to it. So this is the swim entry. It is a particular enough swim entry because you actually swim from a pontoon. So this is where you will do your rolling start. So on race morning, it was 8 o'clock start for us. So we were all lined up here. And what happens is they would let the athletes in 3 by 3 along here. And what happens there is the volunteers hold you all line up in your corrals or based on your estimated swim time. I got into the 30 to 35 swim corral. The other ones were under 30, under 25, etc. And the volunteers, with every beep, every kind of 5 seconds, they lift up the hands and 3 people can go in. It is an unusual swim start because you have the option of either diving in or plonking yourself in, which, again, from my experience and what I saw a lot of people do is either very bad belly flop dives or dove in very dramatically, but came up looking for their goggles. And so do take advantage of the practice swim you will have beforehand. And there was a practice swim between 6:45 and 7:30, where you can actually swim around here, but also you can dive off the pontoon as well to see how your goggles fare. So know what you're going to do before you get in there, and also correctly seed yourself for this point because it is key. We'll also talk about this little yellow fella here because this becomes more important later on. Okay, so that's the entry point. That was a dry water diving in or plonking yourself into the water, and it's a 2-lap course, and we'll talk a little bit about how that works now. Okay, so this is the swim course. As I said, the pontoon is here, but notice it's a 2-loop course, which is very unusual for a 70.3 race. So you are swimming up the water here, and some key things to note. The water quality was absolutely fine. It wasn't too cold. It was a wetsuit legal swim. It normally is in Germany. But as I said, do take advantage of the practice swim area in here to get yourself acclimatized to the water. Grounding buoys were fine, but when you came up here, by the time we were in the water, we had got in around 8:15, and when my rolling started, and the sun had risen here. It was really bright, and you could hardly see anything when you're sighting up here. So tinted goggles are an absolute must for this course. So you are going to swim down. Now again, up was fine, down was just difficult, and you're kind of relying on seeing what was to your left and to your right, but looking up, sighting, disaster. You do actually pass a little submarine here, half submarine here, which is kind of a cool sighting point. Now, as I said, it's a 2-loop course. So how does that work? You will come here and then you'll turn left. And if you will just remind you a little bit about this point here, you have to swim under here because that's where the second timing check is. So you have to actually swim under there. So that's key. But also be aware that if you're in early, there will be other swimmers coming in from the right-hand side. So just be aware of that. Again, your second loop, and the sun will probably be worse at this stage, but then on your second loop, out you go. Water quality is fine. No marine life to worry about. With the rolling start, there wasn't too much fisticuffs going on in the water. Everyone just seemed to be fine with it. It did get a bit crowded in the second lap because you were catching up with the slower swimmers on their first lap. But all in all, nice swim, nice start to the day. So when you actually swim, you come out, and there's a little bit of as you can see, the pontoon, and that's where you come out there. So that's that ramp there is, there's volunteers and they help you out, and you come up here, and the timing chip is there. So once you're on, you run up back onto the you're on concrete there, and you're actually heading up towards the transition, which we'll talk about now. Swim cutoff time, you have 1 hour and 10 minutes to get it done. So the transition itself is actually fairly cool. It's actually, they put it underneath a bridge, which is great because it was hot in Germany, but this meant that all our bikes and everything were nice and cool, and kept out of the sun as much as possible. But again, my top tip here is don't put out any food or drink or bike computers, even though the bikes are guarded and they're all very security, behind fences, etc., with security guards. Only put your food and your water out on the morning of the transition. You'll get access to that. We were allowed in at 6 o'clock, so plenty of time to check our tires, make sure everything was okay. And it's a nice clean transition because IRONMAN used the blue and red bags for transition bags, which I'll talk about now. Okay, so this is the flow of transition 1. As I said, you'll be coming out of the water here and you'll be running up this way. But the key thing to note here is, for those new to IRONMAN, IRONMAN uses a very specific transition system called, the transition bag system. So it's not like your domestic race where you have all your stuff beside your bag, as in your runners, your helmet, etc. It has to be a clean transition, as IRONMAN says it. So that means you have to use a blue bag for your swim to bike transition and a red bag from your bike to run transition. Essentially, what this means is you have all your necessary parts of for your cycling leg in here. Your helmet's in there, your sunglasses are, your race belt, which only goes on when you're getting onto the bike. You can't wear it under the wetsuit. And that's in your bag. So you'll come out of the water here, you're swimming, run here, you'll grab your blue bag, and it's all numbered by your rack number. So you will familiarize yourself with this the day before and the morning of. So you come down and there's benches there, which are sat down. You've taken off your wetsuit, you take out your helmet, you take on whatever. If you're still in your same tri-suit, fine. If you're not, you put your change of clothes. There were some areas you could discreetly change. And then you put, with the wetsuit and your goggles and your swim hat, you just hang that in the rack where you picked it up from. And then you run around. There's portaloos here, etc. There's the relay guys there as well. And you run down here and you'll run up to wherever your bike is racked. Bikes are racked by number. As you can see here, my number was 317, so I was on the outside lane, which is great. But you'll run to 967 and 116, you'll be in here. Again, familiarize yourself with that flow before you start. Again, it's a neutralized transition. So when you get your bike, you will run with it. Now, by the way, you have to have your helmet on first. You cannot touch your bike without your helmet on. That will be a penalty. Again, familiarize yourself with all the transition rules. And then you'll run out here. And the mount line was just about here. So and again, a bit of advice, what I saw, a lot of people were going over the mount line, which means you cannot get onto your bike until your bike has fully crossed that line. But everyone was just like sort of stopping right there, dead in the tracks, and then everyone hopping up. That just causes accidents. Run a few yards ahead, and they'll actually give you a bit of space, and you won't get bumped into from someone from behind. Top tip there. And then you head down to the bike, and then you'll be cycling, and this is the start of the bike course. So some key transition tips: make sure you walk the flow beforehand. Make sure you know what goes in your blue bag and your red bag. There is a video in the comments below if you're a bit confused what that means, where I talk about what you need to do and what you need in your blue bag, what you need in your red bag, and if you're doing a longer distance race, what you put in your personal needs bags. 70.3s in Europe typically don't have a special needs or personal needs bag for emergencies. But I talk about all that good stuff in that video. And then you're off onto the bike course, which is an absolutely super fast bike course. And we'll talk about that now. So just hope you're enjoying the video. As I said, I do a series of these videos. I'm trying to get all the IRONMAN races recovered either by interviewing local coaches or doing them myself, because I love to do them. And so if you want to see more of that content, another training and kind of what's called race related content, make sure to like the video and click subscribe, and then and the little bell for notifications, and then you'll find out. And if you want this is not if you're thinking about doing other races full, we've got all the races down there in that playlist below. So make sure you check it out. And thanks for watching. But anyway, back to the course. So the bike course is actually lightning fast. You can see here, it is absolutely pancake flat. The road surfaces are really good, but not as good as I expected. There are kind of little sort of little manholes. There's little divots. There's little kind of damage on the road. So it's not a course you can drift off on. It is 100% a TT bike course. It's 100% aero bars because it's flat and fast. But you cannot afford to drift off and just start going la la la, because you will hit one of these manholes. And we did see a couple of guys wipe out, which I hope that they're all okay. But I can just imagine how, because you'll be hitting 22 miles an hour, 30k an hour, whatever your poison is in terms of imperial and metric. And if you're just drifting off thinking this is great, you could hit one of these. So always be switched on. But it is a 2-lap course of which you head out. The only real climbing I found was there was the hill, not the hill, the bridge here. There's a bit of an elevation. Around here, there's a slight drag, but they tend to give back as almost more than they take out of, because when you turn around, you're coming straight back and you get a nice bit of chance to build up the momentum. I was quite surprised because having raced Venice earlier this year, which is a 90k loop, I saw much more drafting on that course than I did in this course. And I'm going to put that down to the motorcycle marshals who were really on it. Because if you think about it, a flat, fast course is nothing to break up the packs in terms of hills. There's also, as I said, on 2 loops, bikes tend to bunch up into kind of groups. I didn't see an awful lot of drafting, which was brilliant bit of feedback to give to the guys, because I saw loads of motorcycle marshals and they were clever enough that they went up and they weren't just chucking out cards. They're blowing the whistle and they're allowing the packs to break up. So everyone knew the guys were there, and if they did play dirty, that they're going to the penalty tent. So I think the one whistle initially to frighten people, to get them aware. And I did see people in the penalty tent, don't get me wrong, but I thought that was really, really well marshaled. So well done to the motor marshals there. So as I said, it's a 2-lap course, so it's actually slightly short if you think it's 88k. So it's a 22k out, 22k back. There's not a huge amount of aid stations on the course. I think it was that there was I counted 4. One at what you call it, at 30, at 60, and where was the other one? Or maybe it was just 2. Maybe I did seem to miss one anyhow. But again, aid stations were marshaled and well done. And again, and it was starting to get hot for us as well. So aid stations become more important, and you have to be careful again. So it's a flat, fast course. The road surface is good. It does have its little blemishes, shall we say? So do keep an eye out. And again, there's no real hills to write home about. So it should lead to a PB bike split. Just in terms of the aid stations, it is key in 70.3 racing to make sure you have you avail of aid stations as part of your nutrition strategy if you're not going to carry everything with you. This is again just a high level what you would see. You're only able to drop the trash at the start and end of these aid stations, because if you don't, you're literally in a country which we're a visitor in, and that makes you a dick. Don't be a dick. The aid stations will be laid out to be water, precision hydration, which is the ESO drink of choice, Morton gels, fruits, and again, don't worry if you miss your water or your precision hydration the first time. They repeat them at the second half, so you can have an option of getting a water bottle, pouring it down your neck to keep your neck cool. Then you can get precision hydration to fill up your front loading hydration system, or just put in your bottle cage. You got a chance to grab some food and out. So well marshaled, the volunteers were doing an excellent job. They were running alongside with the bottles and made a better chance for you to catch them. It's super. I could go on and on about actually how to handle an Ironman aid station on a bike, which is absolutely crucial if you're going to do a good race, because you need it for fuel. And if you make a balls of it, you will end up crashing and taking out yourself and other competitors and possibly volunteers. So there's a video I've done in terms of bike aid station etiquette, for want of a better phrase. Check it out in the comments below. It tells you about how to communicate. It tells you how to interact with the volunteer, how to know when you're going to take on board, and it got some cool video demos from pros who actually show you, ironically enough, how not to do it. But so worth watching for that alone. In the comments below. Okay, so we have done the bike, and now we're back into transition. One thing, and I will say in the bike course again, that to be careful of, is when you are coming on your first lap, if you are super fast, you will be coming here, and there will be could be potentially kind of the slower mid backpacker cyclist coming out on the road here. So on your first lap on this roundabout, which is your tournament point, you have to be very aware about other cyclists that may be coming out onto the road at the same time. Same way with the swim, just be very spatially aware and communicate. But if, to say you've done your second lap, you come in here, dismount line is here. You will run with your bike. You leave your helmet on. You cannot touch your helmet until you actually have racked your bike. You'll run back up here. And again, that's where I was. So I had to run up here at the top, all the way down, racked my bike, and then run down here and back. And here's where we come to our red bag. And our red bag is our bike to run bag. This is where you're going to take off your helmet, put that in. You're going to take out your runners. And for me, I have everything wrapped up, ready to go, and almost like a go-go bag. I have my shades wrapped in my baseball cap. I've got my gel in there as well. So literally, I'll rack my bike. I will get my runners on. I will return my red bag to the rack and then start running, because it's a well-known fact that nothing good happens in T2. So do not sit down. Do not think about your life choices. Get your ass in, get your ass out. And then you'll start on the run course here. So you'll be running up here on this red line, and then that brings you onto the main run course. Okay, so that's transition 2. So what we will have done now is then we started our run course, and we'll talk about that now. So the run course, again, slightly unusual because most European 70.3 courses are 3 by 7K for a 3-loop course. But this one is 4 loops, which initially I thought was going to be great because I thought, wow, 5K loops, super, it'll go faster. It wasn't. It actually seemed to drag it out a little bit more. But the run course itself was fairly flat. The surface itself was a bit mixed. At one point, we were off-road and we were kind of on dusty, old kind of path. At one point, we're running a little bit on railway sleepers. Don't panic. They're well embedded, but it is a kind of a mixed terrain as well. Most of it is on tarmac. Most of it is on concrete. There is very little elevation in it. You go, was it under a bridge here? And they go under. And when you come through the area here, the residential area, there's a bit of a drop down here where you have to go down and up, which is minor. But when you're on tired legs, it feels like a very painful experience. And the crowds are great. And around here in the residential area had loads of people out with hoses because the sun was up and it was baking hot. But there was very welcome. Loads and loads of aid stations, loads and loads of water stations. So I filled my boots on them. It was, as I said, I found it hard to pace because I went too hard on the first 2 loops because I thought, wow, just 5Ks. And no, but you still got another 11K to go. So I suffered that. Don't make that mistake. Pace, pace, pace. Each time you pass through this point, you go through little gates and they hand you out yellow for the first, blue for the second, red for the third, and this is what every bad boy wants, black for that. When you have all of those on your wrist, like so, that means you're heading to the final lap. So it's a good run course. It's well spectated at that stage. There's lots of people out. It's a good fun time. To get it all done, you have 8 hours and 30 minutes, and trust me, that's a lot of time. You consider that bike split. It's going to be probably a PB bike split for you. And then on the 4th loop, you turn into the kind of the main square, and this is the finish line. I know you'll see pictures of the previous course, which actually finished in a football stadium, but I thought this was a little bit better because you kind of run in and they have it in kind of an old sort of church area. But what they don't tell you is when you turn, you'll pass a sign on the lap that go like 1, 2, 3, 4. On your 4th lap, go that way. But when you're on your 4th lap and you're making the final turn, you turn and this horrible little sharp little incline, which is a complete surprise. So just be prepared for that. But otherwise, the finish line is great. The crowds were awesome. This is the medal. It's actually fairly classy, and here we are. Proof I didn't steal the picture off the internet. Great little course. Really enjoyed it. It is a PB course if the weather's good to you. I kind of melted on the run myself, but listen, Germany always puts on a good show. They're very strong athletes, and they're very into the triathlon. So if you're considering visiting from the States or from abroad elsewhere, definitely do it. If you're a German, go be proud and race this course. So there you are, guys. That's my breakdown of the course. I hope that was useful if you're thinking about doing the race, and it'll help you make up decide. Make your mind. Go do it. It's a great race. Logistically, it's very easy to get to. There's lots of hotels and Airbnbs where we stayed, and it was very easy to get there. If you have other questions, by the way, in terms of either how you train for 70.3, or you have questions about the course which I haven't covered, like where the portaloos, mainly at the aid stations, or if you have other courses you'd like me to cover, drop me a note in the comments below. Like the video, please. Subscribe for more content, as I really enjoy doing these, as it gives me an excuse to go and travel and see lots of cool courses, and then help you guys enjoy their day. So listen, have a super day's training, and best of luck with your season.